So look at this, guys. This is the new folding phone from Google. And honestly, it's happening at a time where I'm super pumped. Like, I've been into folding phones for a while, and I've been kind of hoping that other brands were gonna get involved in this space. And what better brand than Google? I've been a fan of the Pixel devices for a long time. Currently in my pocket is the Pixel 7 Pro. And now we have a folding device, which kind of gives you the best of multimedia consumption, a tablet-like experience, and then you can pull it out of your pocket and use it in its sort of slab form factor and do your phone stuff with it as well. Now, the first thing that strikes me here is the way that this whole hinge situation is operating. It's incredibly firm the whole way through. Like, it can kind of stop at any point. And when it's completely closed like this, there's very little gap. It's an incredibly tight tolerance that they've been able to factor in there. Now, the Pixel DNA is still intact, like as far as this visor looking camera section, and the Pixel camera performance is also intact. If you look closely, you'll see the periscope style zoom lens on the bottom there. This looks like a fairly large microphone grill, and the benefit of having the Pixel camera layout on a folding device is that when you have it unfolded like this, you can actually utilize the front-facing screen to frame up your image or video while utilizing the superior rear-facing cameras, which, as we know, are pretty much always going to be better than any front-facing camera in most circumstances. Now, the display on the front, you can see it's a little bit wider this way when you're examining the aspect ratio, but it's also kind of thin as it fits into your hand over here. So this is what it looks like kind of trying to reach across to the other side in single-handed mode. This is a generous display when you pull it out of your pocket and you want to get something done quickly, and then you can just jump into your unfolded mode like I like to do when I might be like sitting on the couch or browsing social media, watching YouTube, for example. This is just obviously a much more comfortable experience. Something else I'm noticing here, we have a nice kind of theme integrated, which goes with some of the design elements and characteristics on the outside of the device. Fingerprint scanner is going to be in the power button location, which has a slightly different texture from the volume rocker, which lives below there. Another unusual characteristic, the USB-C connector is symmetrical with the SIM tray, which lives just above there. And Google's gonna sell a 30-watt USB-C power adapter to utilize that port, and quick charge. They're saying all-day battery life. Battery is gonna come in around 4,800 milliamp hours. It's one of the things about having a folding device. It's tough to cram everything in there. It's nice to be close to 5,000 milliamp hours, but obviously in this case, you've got to make space for your variety of displays, your folding mechanism, and all the rest of it. This is addictive, just kind of folding this like this. Like, listen to the little noise that it makes. Ready? Lovely. Good stuff. Okay, so this color that I'm handling here is called Obsidian, inspired by a variety of sort of grays. It's not quite black. It is a matte finish as well, but it isn't the only color that this device will be available in. It's also gonna have a lighter option. So that one's gonna be called Porcelain, and I'm hopefully gonna handle that one at a later date. So you'll have a light and a dark option, essentially. Kind of like the both of them sort of have like a natural aspect. This one inspired by pottery. I have some different inspirational pieces here. And of course, we'll likely be taking a look at that other color at a later date. External display is a 5.8 inch, 17.4 by 9 aspect ratio. And that's FHD plus 2092 by 1080 OLED, your PPI 408, 120 Hertz capable. And it's also got Corning Gorilla Glass Victus for protection against scratches and so on. It's an always-on display, so you can see what's playing at all times. Up to 1200 nits of HDR brightness and 1550 nits of peak brightness. And then when we move to the internal display, obviously things get larger. 7.6 inches in here, 6:5 aspect ratio, and 2208 by 1840 pixels, which gives you a PPI of 380. This has an ultra thin glass with protective plastic layer. This is something that people have wondered about in the past with folding devices. They have questions about durability. However, we have seen improvements in the materials being used on the inside of these devices to limit some of those concerns. This one is up to 1000 nits brightness, HDR, and 1450 nits peak brightness. So that's another kind of interesting find. The exterior display slightly brighter than the interior display, but it kind of makes sense because this is the display that you're likely to access outdoors when you have competing brightness from the elements, and then probably when you're relaxing, you're moving to the interior display. And in this setting, I mean, this is obviously plenty of brightness here. Smooth display, as it's listed, automatically raises refresh from 60 to 120 for some content, but increases battery usage. If I were to select this toggle and turn this off, it would stay in the lower refresh rate, which would then increase battery life. But even with this turned on, you have a dynamic behavior in which it's going to look at whatever it is you're trying to use or do and determine whether or not you could take advantage of an increased refresh rate, and then that'll be enabled. We've seen a variety of these dynamic style settings. So something interesting here, the front-facing camera on the inside, on the large display, it's housed inside of the bezel itself, rather than anything funky like below the screen, as we may have seen on other devices. So this has a dedicated location. Typically, it's gonna give you slightly better performance. Obviously, you're going to have to look at the frame of the device as a consequence. Now, I'm curious a little bit about the speakers on here. That's another benefit of having a larger device. You can kind of spread out the stereo effect if it's there, and it does look like it's there. I see a couple different speaker grills. And obviously, this is another benefit. One of my favorite aspects of folding devices is typing, the typing experience with the split keyboard and 2 thumbs. It just gives you tremendous space. And so responding to emails, notes, or anything like that, it's just a lot more comfortable than on a small display, obviously.
I'm just not, when I'm out on the street, how many like large 4-door sedans are you seeing? Once cars get that big, people seem to want them to be a little higher.
Wow.
And they seem to want to have
so
a
we got decent
space.
Power here. I'm gonna hold up to my
and
mic.
get ever closer to that SUV category. So I just wonder, had Lucid done the SUV first, if we'd be having a different discussion right now, instead of their version of the Model S, which, as we've seen with Tesla, it turns out to not be their great seller either.
Yeah.
It's just
people want practicality or price, like a lower price.
Well, but the thing is, practicality, it doesn't mean they don't want luxury. It's just that a huge percentage of the market decided that
it's another one of my favorite aspects of these folding devices. You just typically get better audio performance. Maybe there's more space. Obviously, as I mentioned, the stereo spread, so the distance between the channels is greater. So this is kind of what the video watching experience is like in this orientation. You can either be browsing what you want to watch next while still having enough real estate to watch your video, or you can click on comments, obviously, scroll the comments while you're watching. It splits it right at the right spot. Yo, how sick is that?
That is pretty sick.
Dude, you're watching a video, you're having your lunch, whatever, and you have a nice stand and you have the extra content displayed below, and this fits perfectly on the top. It's almost like the aspect ratio took into consideration YouTube, because the company that made the phone has a little bit of experience with YouTube. Look at that. It's insane. It's like a mini laptop. All you need is like a little tiny on-screen keyboard, which I guess you could have. What if I just typed it? Yeah, kind of. Or you can go ahead and maximize and just have a large chunk of video real estate.
It is a nice vehicle. I would like to try one. It is the range champ as well, as mentioned.
So that's really where these things come into their own. There are lots of options to interact with content. Obviously, there's plenty of tablets out there, and we've all got our smartphones, But then it's just like, how often do you end up using it? Now, in the case of the latest Pixel tablet that Google released alongside this, they aim to make it a thing that's sort of always charged and accessible, so you might pick it up more often. However, for me, the idea of having the tablet in your pocket, which doubles as a phone and is always ready to be unfolded, means you just end up with a more comfortable viewing experience kind of all the time, because your main device is always charged up, it's always ready to go, and it's always on you when it's pocket sized. So when I was daily driving my last folding device, that was the appeal, is that it was a big screen, but it was in your pocket, and other big screens simply can't go there. All right, so let's go ahead and launch the camera app. So hopefully we have our typical Pixel performance here. So there's a couple of different options for versatility. By default, we are in our 1x setting. Here we go, ready, Mo?
I smiled. You wanted to smile.
I never said that. I like that you put the effort in there, dude. Okay, so camera versatility test. We're starting all the way in at 5x. Here's our 2x shot. This is the ultra wide, and then our dedicated wide. You can see actually quite a bit of detail in there. When you go in here and examine your images on the far larger screen, you can have a different appreciation for it. I mean, that's kind of another benefit of these devices, is just showing off your own work, your own photos and videos. It's so much easier to just turn this to somebody and be like, hey, watch this, as opposed to on a smaller display, or look at this, or so on. So now in video, I've got full HD 1080p. I have a 4K option, 4K, and I can shoot 4K 60. Ooh, textures. What is this rock called? That's cool. And look at the texture on the fabric too. Woo!
That's texture.
You like the detail?
Mm-hmm.
You like the detail? Because this hinge can kind of stop at any point, it also sort of has a built-in stand. Like, check this out. You could turn on the camera. I'm gonna try this right now. Yeah, look, dude, look. You now have a tripod anywhere you go. You can take a stabilized shot or set up for some video. Do you understand what I'm saying? Look at this. So if I wanna shoot a video and I don't have a tripod with me and I have this beautiful camera capable of 4K 60 video on the rear, I can just prop that up on any tabletop surface, and just like that, I'm filming my video. And the UI even recognizes what I'm doing and actually splits into two. That's cool. And if I open all the way, then it fills the frame. Check it out. So they do expect you to do this. Look, boom. And fold it all the way out. Then they're like, okay, you're holding it in half, tripod mode. Even, hey, by the way, even the options on the bottom here are affected, including the suggestion to use the timer to take a group photo, exactly as I said. Ready, Mo?
Oh, God.
We didn't do a portrait yet. I'm gonna wait till you can't hold that smile anyway. That's better. Portrait, Mo. I love what the Pixel devices do with the contrast. Okay, so camera setup specs on the rear. The main camera, 48 megapixels, and f1.7 aperture. It's an 82-degree field of view. It's a half-inch image sensor. You've also got a 10.8 megapixel ultra wide. The telephoto camera, 10.8 megapixels, supporting up to 5 times optical zoom on the front of the device. So this is on the exterior display. You've got 9.5 megapixels, f2.2 with an 84-degree field of view. That's a fixed focus camera. And then on the inside, once you have it unfolded, you have another front-facing camera at 8 megapixels and an 84-degree field of view. So yeah, it's really up to you. I mean, with these form factors, you can shoot with it open, you can shoot with it closed, photos, videos, so forth. Obviously, this is not like a comprehensive test, but at first glance, performance does seem extremely comparable to Pixel 7 Pro. And I mean, obviously it does, because so much of what's going on here is happening in the software as well. And you know you're running your vanilla Android experience in here. So the device is obviously flagship. You have the latest Tensor chip in here. You're gonna have 12 gigs of RAM. You're going to have up to 512 gigs of storage. It's not going to be cheap, but you didn't expect it to be cheap. It's going to be coming in at $17.99, so comparable to other folding devices, but still a premium. You're going to have to be somebody that really sees the advantages of having a folding device and possibly replacing a tablet and a phone type of situation, and instead wanting a kind of one and done, do it all type of device. There's advantages for content consumption, content production, text input via the split keyboard, gaming as well. I mean, you've got a massive display for playing games, and it's actually quite comfortable to hold in two hands, whereas if just like on a typical device, you're kind of, you know, I mean, depending on your grip and so on, it's a little bit more natural when you have screen-based inputs for games to have more space and to have a natural spot where your thumbs align. Plenty of advantages in the folding space. You just gotta pay for it. And listen, as I mentioned, for me, it's kind of a big deal. I've been waiting for more players in the folding space, and Pixel devices, I've been a fan of Pixel devices before they were even called Pixel devices back in the Nexus days. So for me, this is like a no-brainer. I'm definitely interested, and I'm especially glad that it appears that the camera section didn't take a major hit. Obviously, the design is slightly different because of thresholds and design constraints and challenges that come from trying to make a folding device. So I can just kind of show you a dusty comparison of, this is 7 Pro, and there's a little height comparison too. So as you can see, this visor section doesn't reach all the way to the edge the same way it does on the 7 and 7 Pro, but obviously you need room for this hinge, and you're dealing with completely different components. So the way that you implement your camera system is going to be different. It's going to be tougher. It's actually kind of amazing when you look at it in its unfolded state, just how thin this section is, which still needs to figure out a way to get that periscope style zoom lens in there, and obviously the other camera components, while maintaining the thinness and lightness of the overall package. So yeah, if you were wondering, because you saw this beautiful later case on the Pixel 7 Pro, yeah, we're gonna support it on the Pixel Fold as well. And check out that fit. You can order that right now when you're watching this. As I've mentioned in the past with these thin cases, it's especially helpful on devices that are large to begin with, because if you slap something bulky on here, I mean, let's be honest, it's a folding phone. It's already pretty hefty, so this kind of keeps it as slim as possible while giving it a little bit of texture and a little bit less slip out of your pocket.